Hello, garden friends. Welcome to my Sunday morning backyard garden tour. I decided to start the tour right here because my beautiful Gaura shrub is in full bloom. Some people refer to this shrub as the fairy bush or the butterfly bush because they look like little whimsical fairies. In today's video, I'm also going to include a little garden tip that might be helpful to your garden too. You know how like those strawberry plants send out these long runners? Well, I'm going to show you what to do with them so you can have free strawberries for your garden too. And also, I'm super excited about this part. You know the bridge garden that I'm working on? Well, my little fisher boy finally arrived and I'm going to open it up, show you what it looks like, and maybe set it up and see if it works out. So let's get started. Well, as you can see, my gorgeous bougainvillea, this seems to have been the highlight of my garden week after week. Sorry for the way the sun is angled. It's casting a shadow because I'm actually filming this on Saturday. But yeah, this is probably the 5th time it's bloomed for me, and I'm starting to train it so it goes all the way across my patio roof. Or I could call this my happy place. As you can see, my beautiful proven winners Supertunia Vista bubblegum is also looking just lovely. And look at my sweet potato vine. It's growing so big. It's actually coming out the bottom on both sides of my garden through my patio and all the way out to the garden. Well, besides the Mexican sunflower, which I'm really happy about, I also have some volunteer sunflowers that have been making the bees and birds very happy. But I'm sad to say that most of my zinnias are all gone. But you know, that's just life and how the garden evolves. But I did harvest a lot of seeds from these zinnias, so I know I'll be able to plant some next year. And at least I have 2 plants left. Not sure how much longer they will last. But look at my friends. Here's my cute and colorful fairy garden. The vinca underneath the Japanese maple tree have added so much color to this area. My little Dollar Tree stepping stones have faded. Not sure if I'm going to repaint those or wait till spring and buy new ones. Behind the bottle tree is a Mahonia soft caress. That'll start blooming in the early winter. And yes, I painted all my doors. Next to my little fairy garden, this is my succulent propagation station where I experiment and propagate succulents. On the top are some birdhouses I got at the thrift stores. And these succulents do so well in this area because it gets not full sun. They do like a little relief from that hot afternoon sun. Over here, some beautiful, beautiful lily turf. And those are underneath my white Natchez crepe myrtle tree, which is done blooming for the season. And over here is my water fountain garden. It's not running right now because it is solar powered and the sun hasn't really hit that panel yet. But look at my Gaura. I think today's garden tour is all about Gaura. Gaura's stealing the show, even more than the bougainvillea or bougainvillea, however you pronounce it. I actually go back and forth on that. And you're wondering what this stick is. Well, this is a little sunflower I made out of horseshoes. I just soldered them, or I should say glued them on with a special glue and painted them. Just kind of fun. And growing up this arbor are clematis. They're not doing too well this year. I'm not sure how clematis is working out in your garden, but for me, they haven't been big bloomers. This is my dynamite red crepe myrtle tree, but it's done blooming. Yeah, but the lily turf, it's so pretty. They make these cute little purplish, lavenderish, bluish flowers, if that's even a color. They look like little popsicles in my opinion. I think they're just adorable. Now, if you imagine me standing where the water fountain is, here's a backside view. Look at my beautiful Supertunia Vista bubblegum with the Gaura and a blue salvia behind it. I think that's just such a beautiful, colorful view. And the bougainvillea behind it. Look at just all the colors. Oh, and you can even see my citrus lantana in the vintage bathtub way back there. I love all these colors. It just makes my heart happy. I call this area my happy place, and it's also where I feed my cat, Cookie. I just keep her food on top so Abby can't get to it. Yeah, my little happy place, it's just made up of a bunch of colorful, fun, thrift store treasures, yard sale finds, and just a bunch of stuff that I paint and hang up and enjoy. Inside that vintage sink is a maidenhair fern, and every couple years I cut it all the way back and let it start over and rejuvenate again. An old window, some shovels that I just painted. I get old signs at the thrift stores and I paint over them with my own design. This is one of my favorites. Don't worry, be happy. And of course, Jesus saves. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. You know, a lot of people say, are you always so happy? Well, because of Jesus I am. He brings me such peace and joy and calmness to my life. And my girlfriend Kelly, she made this herself using a vintage tea kettle. Handcrafted this, and I absolutely love it and will always cherish her friendship. She gifted it to me. I've never even met her, but she wanted that in my garden, and I love her for that. I consider this the main part of my garden, the front of my garden. Over to the left is my little cottage garden. I'm not sure the marigolds are doing too good. I think the spider mites kind of took over those. And in this vintage bathtub, I'm growing 3 petunias, Supertunia Vista bubblegum in the center with 2 jazzberries on the side. Behind that, I have Freya the farmer, my little scarecrow garden with Lottie the lamb next to her and Petunia the pig. My granddaughter painted that door on the left with all the fun and colorful handprints. I referred to this contraption as my iron plant stand. Somebody actually handcrafted that. It's kind of hard to see with all the plants and whatnot growing on it, and they were throwing it away. A friend of mine saw it on the curb and they picked it up and they said, hey, I think Liz would like this for her garden. And I absolutely do. Growing from this is Creeping Jenny and Vinca minor, which is also trailing. I remember just like a month ago I was saying, I hope it makes it all the way to the bottom, and it did. Down below, growing in the pots, are more Vinca. Have Canterbury bells that will bloom next year on the bottom, more Vinca. And you see, my marigold, it's just not doing too good. I don't think this was the year for marigolds. That happens. You know, 3 years ago, it wasn't the year for tomatoes. This year, I just don't think it was the year for marigolds and clematis. I would love to know what your experience has been. This is my little cactus corner, but it has been taken over with coleus. But the pink cordyline behind is definitely trying to poke through and say, hey, we're still here. I think when the coleus are done, because they don't like the colder temperatures under like 45 degrees, I'll probably put succulents or cacti in those pots, just to kind of keep it all low maintenance for me. See, like these mangavis in this barrel, I absolutely love those. So I might even put some down below, or I'll put them in my cactus corner because I think it's a great way to add color to the garden without depending on blooms. And they seriously require no maintenance at all. In fact, the more I ignore them, the happier they are. She's such a little queen. I'll just call her Queen Cookie. This is such a beautiful view, the way the sun is shining through the creeping Jenny and Vinca minor. That's why I like to film sometimes at different times of the day instead of always Sunday morning. And over here is my new bridge garden area. It's still under construction, but I did create the dry creek bed and I added blue rocks to make it look like water. And my plan is to lay mulch down in all the areas where you see dirt. And I even did plant some little society garlics. I just pulled those from the mother plant in the front of my house. They'll definitely spread out and create some structure and greenery back there. Now, just as promised, I want to show you my cute little fisher boy that just arrived in the mail yesterday. Oh, it's packed in there tightly. Here we go. Oh my goodness. This is so cute. Look it, there's even a little, he even has a little fish. And I guess I just stick this right in there like that. And he's gonna sit on the edge of my bridge garden like he's fishing. So here is my idea. And of course I can replace the rocks closer and fool around with it until I get the perfect position. And of course I'll have to fasten him on there with some outdoor glue or something. But what do you think? Do you think that's just so adorable or what? I am so in love with this. He is everything I hoped he'd be. Now I'm going to take you to my driveway garden and show you how you can make free strawberry plants for your garden. Look at my beautiful cucumber plants. Like I said, every week they get taller and taller, and it's chock full of yellow blossoms. Oh, look it, I even have a little baby cucumber. That means the bees are doing their job. Yay! Oh my goodness, and there's ladybugs too. Oh my goodness, there's a cucumber. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I got my first cucumber. Yay! I'm so happy, a ladybug and a cucumber. You know, the cucumbers are like camouflage. You really have to look for them in order to find them. I bet I have a few more in there. And this is my sweet potato vine that's growing so tall with a moonflower on the right, purple hyacinth bean on the left, and look at my okra. Beautiful, beautiful okra. Now let me show you and address these beautiful strawberry plants. And look at, I'm getting more strawberries. It's not ripe yet, but it's there. So basically there's two kinds of strawberry plants, a June-bearing and an ever-bearing. June-bearing just means they bloom one time, usually for a couple weeks, sometime around June, depending on your garden zone, and they produce huge, big, lush strawberries one time and that's it. The ever-bearing produce strawberries throughout the growing season, usually like maybe 2 or 3 times, depending on where you live. But then the ever-bearing strawberries, they're not as big because they produce throughout the gardening season. But what happens is strawberries want to reproduce. So they create these long shoots. They're called stolons, S-T-O-L-O-Ns, and it comes from a Latin word stolo, which means shoot, branch, something like that. They're like little miniature plants. So what you do is you get a container, you fill it with dirt, and I already did that, and you stick the little plant, oh, this one's already rooted. You stick the little plant in dirt, but you don't cut this yet, not until it forms roots and it can be sustainable on their own. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that now. Now I have my very own brand new strawberry plant. I could stick this in dirt and it will form roots, and then I can cut it from this one, which is, this one's now the mother plant. Oh, and here's another very helpful tip. The reason why you want to cut these off, even if you don't want to make the baby plants, it's still very important that you cut these off because you want the energy going into the plant itself to produce really nice strawberries. I know this seems like such a waste. You can compost this or give it to the chickens, but this really helps the strawberry plant as well. Because right now the strawberry is using all of its energy into produce these little babies. So we're just going to give it a little break so it can keep all the energy into the plant to hopefully give me another harvest of delicious strawberries. Now, in case you're wondering which plant I have, if it's the June bearing or ever bearing, I have no idea because I lost the tag. I could assume that it's ever bearing because it is making more strawberries. However, I live in California Garden Zone 9B, so it's very possible that even if it's a June bearing, it might bloom for me again. So that's how you can make free strawberry plants for your garden too. Just pot these up in dirt, wait till they root, cut off the umbilical cord, and you got free strawberry plants for your garden. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's garden tour and my strawberry tips, and I hope you have a beautiful day in your garden too. Bye.